and on and on. And ladies and gentlemen, the person who can put the fire out is with us today on the airwaves, coming at you with another segment of words of wisdom and moments of meditation. Ladies and gentlemen, T-Boz, good morning.
Jock Williams, T-Boz on WATJ. Here we go, another day singing yet another song. We didn't start the radio, but Marconi did, and so we enjoyed it. We need it.
Clever.
This is what happens, Jock, when you don't smoke pot in the 70s.
Well, we need to do something about that.
Yeah, well, we need to do something about that. Welcome in. Good morning, Mr. Williams. And I don't know if Derek is in there yet, hanging out with you. Derek and the Deep Tracks. Great show after this, boys and girls. Check that out. Man, they're piling in, Jock. Oh, very quickly, I got a lot to do. This is called the soft opening. My brother, who likes radio as much as I do, this is the soft opening. Remember Regis Philbin in the morning? They do a little chit-chat, and they went into the show. Well, Jock and I right now, this is called the soft opening. So we got a lot in the soft opening. But, George, could you turn up the air a little bit? Yeah, it got warm fast. But couple of quick things. We got so much going on here today. Big shoe, as Sullivan used to say. I'm wearing, can you bring the cameras in here, please? Usually I wear a white collared shirt to look professional, sport jacket. Today I'm wearing Chris Canfield's show, No Commercial Potential. Can you bring the camera in a little more for everybody can see? Picture of Frank Zappa. He had a guy design this. It says No Commercial Potential, WAPJ Radio. He brought me in on the team of people who are getting these shirts, so I thank you, Chris, for that. Great show he does on Wednesdays, 5 o'clock. You're going to hear stuff you don't hear anywhere else. And then My Country Place on Saturday mornings. Real country music, y'all. But anyway, I'm wearing this shirt. I broke tradition. It is 90 degrees today. So thank you, Chris, for that. And those of you, we have pictures of this. We'll show you on Facebook. You can see it if you're not watching on TV. Today's program is about volunteering. I want to thank a volunteer guy. His name is Ben Grucey. He's our IT guy. A lot of you have been enjoying the pop-ups of me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also you can get today's episode without having to scroll through 4 years of episodes. That's all done because of Ben Grucey, who volunteers his time here for Words of Wisdom, Moments of Meditation. And so we want to thank him. We want to thank volunteer Stan, the coffee man. I'm going to get over to him in a minute. Marianne and Research, who helps me with looking up all these quotes and information. But there's a volunteer that I want to come over here. Can you come over here, George, and stand right next to me? Okay. Today is a very special day for George by the door. And he came in today because he does have a very important appointment today at 3:30 with a beautiful woman. Her name, for now anyway, is Alicia DeLibero, but that's going to change. And I think you guys get the hint. My good friend George by the door is going to be getting married today at 3:30 to the beautiful Alicia, who does alternative anthems. And I just want to congratulate you and just thank you for coming in today. You look sharp. You're going to look sharper later. And I just want to thank you and wish you and Alicia all the very best from the classroom here, from the staff of WAPJ Radio. And it's been my pleasure over this last year and a half of becoming your friend. Very quickly, where are you going on your honeymoon? What? Really? They're going to Ireland, Jock, for a week. Wow.
I'm impressed.
I'm impressed, yeah. And they're not swimming. So they're going all the way to Ireland, and they're going to have the wedding today. So, again, George, thank you. And give Alicia a big hug from all of us. And I'm telling you, boys and girls, love is in the air. And Jock Williams, T-Boz. Oh, we did that already. Okay. Let's get over to the other volunteer, Stan. Say it with me, boys and girls. The coffee man. And what do you got in the pot today there, Stanny boy? Bridal bouquet hazelnut. Wow. I wonder where you got that from. You already knew he was getting married. Well, you guys are on the same team. And what do we have for the dessert? Jock, when you come over later, it's a huge sheet cake. It says, congratulations, Alicia and George, June 5th, 2025. By the way, Alicia's birthday is today, so she's getting a husband for her birthday. And who are the sponsors for this beautiful sheet cake and the coffee and everything, Stan? Who would have guessed? The staff of WAPJ Radio, headed up by our leader, John Ramsey, and all the DJs have all come together. And George, they sponsored this beautiful dessert table, this cake today, even those beautiful flowers in the corner. God, really went all out today. So thank you, John Ramsey and WAPJ. Thank you, Stan, Benjamin, Marianne, George by the door. Now, that leads us into today's topic. We're going to talk about volunteerism. Why? Because as you know, Lady Diane and I were involved in Relay for Life. It was a huge success. A lot of you listening contributed to the Luminarius. I thank you. She thanks you. And I was very impressed with the people out there. A lot of young people, a lot of high school kids. When they talk about the youth of today, there's youth out there like there was in the 60s and the 70s who feel strongly about something. And these young people came from 10 in the morning till 10 at night. We were unable to do the 24-hour piece because of the rain on Saturday, so they condensed it all to Sunday. They had a survivor's walk, a silent walk. I lit a torch for my late wife, Lorianne Bozzi, did 10 years for her. Diana lit a 20-year torch for her mother, Marlene. So a moving experience, dedicated people. The people on the Farmington is one of the largest, I think number 5 in Relay for Life. Linda, I met Linda, very dedicated. So that inspired me to do this piece today. We're going to talk very quickly about how Relay for Life started. It started in 1985. There was a colorectal surgeon, and his name was Gordon Klatt, and he wanted to raise money for his local American Cancer Society fundraising effort there in Tacoma, Washington. So the power of one, he got up one day, the good surgeon, and he walked around a track there at the university for 24 hours. He ran some, he walked some, and he raised by himself $27,000. And so he is the seed, the person who started Relay for Life. And here it is, 40 years later from his efforts. He passed away in 2014. But for his efforts, people everywhere are benefiting from new research, new treatments, and elongating life in a lot of different areas with cancer. So we thank him. But it goes to show you, boys and girls, the power of one, the power of what you can do. And everyone in this room, listening on air, listening through Zoom, you are all like Gordon Klatt, because you've been coming here for 4 years, not because you think you're perfect, but because, as Jock says, we're trying to improve ourselves. Me as well, Jock as well. That's why we listen to this show. That's why we do this show. Okay? So all of you in this room are Dr. Klatts. You're all doers. You're all people who get involved. You have a heart. Okay? So if you're in this room and you're listening to this program, I'm preaching to the choir. But we still want to improve ourselves like that lemon. Just squeeze. Oh, Maxwell House, good to the last drop, right? We still want to improve ourselves just that little bit more. Let's start with Galatians chapter 6, verse 10. And it tells us, therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all. Boom. There's our first boom. Scripture. And to new listeners, the whole show is not going to be Bible verses. I just want to clear the air. I have famous people quotes in here. My talks are open to all. Like I said on Facebook, whether you're red or you're blue, just be you. Come in, listen, take what you want. But if you feel, oh, this is going to be another Christian program, it's a very wide open, a very welcoming type of program. So Galatians tells us, therefore, okay, as we have the opportunity, as things come in front of us, people ask us to help. People ask us to do something. I have some little stories about friends of mine who had the opportunity. I'll talk about one now. My friend Jim. When you go by Lord's Shrine this week, boys and girls, you're going to see a beautiful hostas and floral arrangement with mulch and stone. Jim did that, like Dr. Klatt. Ba-boom. He didn't wait for a committee. He didn't wait to sign up. He saw a need. He saw the opportunity, it says in Galatians. He gathered up the mulch. He gathered up the plants, brought his truck over there, and one long Friday created beauty for all the people that come to Lord's Shrine. That's what they're talking about in Galatians. We look at 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10, and it says, each of you, that so no one gets away, right? Each of you, okay, should. And we always say, don't say should on this show, but St. Peter tells us, each of you should use whatever gifts you have received to serve others. Boom. As faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. I know not everyone here believes in the one true God. That's fine. You're all welcome, okay? But what St. Peter is saying is you all have gifts special to each one of you, right? Like Jim's gift is the planting and the horticulture. So it's saying we should use those gifts. St. Peter isn't saying, well, whatever, just do what you want, whatever. No, he's actually being kind of forceful there, saying we should use those gifts. And my friend Jim used his gift of horticulture, and he did something, and he improved the quality of life of people going in there, the quality of the shrine. It's a win-win when you volunteer, all right? But using your gifts, okay, to improve and to serve. There's a word, right? We all want to be served, right? But what did Jesus say? I didn't come to be served, but to serve. So our calling, whatever your faith is, Muslim, Mormon, Catholic, Protestant, vibes, naturalist, I don't care, American Indian, it doesn't matter. Our calling is to serve mankind, and that's what volunteering is all about. We look at the late Dr. Martin Luther King, and he says, life's most persistent and urgent question, what are you doing for others? Boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Life's most urgent question, what are you doing for others? Now, we're all doing something for ourselves. We're all going to college to get a better education. We're all working our businesses to make more money. That's fine. I have no problem with capitalism, okay? We're all making our houses look better. I did things here at the house to make it look better at the farm. But what are we doing for others? That's the mirror question you got to ask yourself when the program is over. And that's what I enjoyed about doing Relay for Life with Diane. It was something as a couple we could do together. Yes, we have the romance. We like to go out to dinner and square dance, and those are good things. But we did something for people we don't even know. And we talked about, back at Easter time, right? Jesus died for people he didn't even know. We talked about the guys who held up the flag at Fort McHenry, dying for people they didn't even know. So a volunteer is like a hero. So we were helping people that were there that day and for future generations, like Dr. Klatt did, right? Some of the advances in cancer research is because this guy walked around a track for 24 hours. He had no idea what he was starting at the time, but look what happened from that. So I felt good in a strange way, because cancer is not a happy thing. But I felt good, as Dr. King said, that I answered that urgent question, all right? Tommy, what are you doing for others? I raised money, and I gave 19 hours of my time to help a cause. We look further down, and we see Oscar Wilde says this: the smallest act of kindness is better than the grandest intention. Boom, boom, boom. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, okay? The grandest intention. Yeah, when I get the time, when I retire. Jim didn't wait till he retired. All right. Oh, when I retire. Oh, when I get the time. When I get the bills paid. When I. That's not what Dr. King is talking about, and that's not what St. Peter is saying when we should use our gifts, and what St. Paul says in Galatians, when the opportunity arises, we should help others and serve others. Okay, so the grandest intention, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Nobody does anything. If I had the time, you know what, my father had a friend, his name was Eddie Kobus. My brother knows this story. And my brother was playing the drums, and Mr. Kobus said to my brother, you need to take drum lessons. And my brother said, I don't have the time. And Eddie Kobus said, make the time. Make the time. You want things to happen in your community, on your street, in your family, you got to make the time. You got to show up. You got to, like Jesus says, make your yeses, yeses, and your noes, noes. And that's what volunteers do. That's what they do. So they have intention. They put them into action. One more quote before the break. Terry Galensis. Yep, did I say? Yeah, Galensis. Terry Galensis. She says, volunteers wear work boots, but they leave trails of angel footprints. Beautiful. Okay? They leave trails of angel footprints. I'm going to talk about my friend Keith Hodder. If you remember, he was on the program a few months ago. He came in third in his Achilles road race for disabled. A couple weeks ago, he came in first. Okay, he's been improving himself, but he's been working with what? Volunteers, people who tether with him to run. And the purpose of these 5Ks that he does is to raise money for multiple sclerosis, MS. And he also contributed to Relay for Life. Okay, so that's the beauty of volunteer. Volunteer is like a candle. When a candle lights another candle, it doesn't lose its flame. It doesn't lose its original flame. It lights another candle. Well, in Keith's case, he's getting his time down, coming in first in these. It's a personal growth thing for him, overcoming his disability. But at the same time, his candle lights another candle because he's raising money for multiple sclerosis. So what volunteers do is one candle lights another. They don't lose their flame. After you light a bunch of candles, a dark room turns bright. And the benefit, there's a double paycheck there, especially in Keith's case, because he's getting the personal growth, overcoming his disability of blindness, yet he's helping other people when he's the kind of person that people should be helping, right? We're the marginalized, those of us who are disabled. We're on the margins, right? But here's a guy who says, I'm coming off the margins, dude. I'm going to get on that track, and I'm going to help somebody, therefore helping myself. Just what Galatians says. Therefore, when we have the opportunity to serve, we should serve. And with that serving, let's see what the sponsors have for us today. Jock?
And thank you so much, T-Boz. And we want to send this out to each and every one of you listening to the show today, that you are indeed welcome to participate and contribute to your local community radio station. Local and live is our way of doing that each and every Thursday. If you're a business, artist, venue, or person of interest, and you want to let the community know what you're doing, what you're up to, and what you're all about, then we indeed invite you to join us here on the show. Also, we want to let you know that in conjunction with our sponsors, that we want to encourage you to continue to support your local community radio station. The experiment continues. Volunteer-operated, listener-supported radio for over 25 years here in the heart of downtown Torrington. So we encourage you to take part, and you'll be glad you did. And with that said, we'll return the show back over to T-Boz for more words of wisdom and moments of meditation.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. And you talk about a guy that volunteers. I've spoken about Jock many times, and he was in that traffic jam, but he was here, and because he loves Torrington, he loves the radio station, he loves me, I love him, and it's a great group of people that we're with there. And thank you again, Jock, for the opportunity. Elizabeth,
T-Boz, you got to stop the insincerity here. You know the reason why I came here is because the check is in the mail. So right. don't mislead anybody. Okay, let them know that what the real deal is. Okay.
Right, and you want to come over for this big cake over here. That's what.
That's part of the deal. Okay.
Right, and we have nice coffee here today. You could smell it across the street. Elizabeth Andrews, she was born in 1880, died in 1962. She was the first woman who started a labor organization. She says this: volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they have the heart. And I added, to make the time. So they don't have the time. The people at Relay for Life Sunday, you think they easily came up with 19 hours, and some of them were there Friday in the rain? Diana was one of them, setting up that. And here's a volunteer. So they have a bag committee that does all the luminaries. I know she's going to be embarrassed by this, but I don't care. They do all their bags with your loved one's picture or saying, and then there's a candle in there, and they light them at the torch ceremony. All right? They have a committee that does that. But the amount of people that I brought in through my fundraising efforts, there was probably about 30 bags. Diana did all of them. On top of work, on top of packing to move and sell her condo to come here to Torrington and be getting married in a couple of months, on top of going to square dance lessons and the square dance convention. A volunteer does not have the time, but she has the heart. And when we go in front of God one day, all of us, we're not going to be judged on how many masses we went to. We're going to be judged on our heart. Not what we did, but what we didn't do. Who did we ignore? Who did we put on the margins? Who did we walk over? Who did we look past? But people like Diana and people like Jock Williams and all the people at the radio station, all you people here, my friend Barbara has done a lot of volunteer stuff for a women's organization. You people did not have the time, but you made the time. And that is what Elizabeth Andrews says about having heart, not time. St. John, 1 John, chapter 3, verse 18 says, "Dear children, let us not love with words and speech, but with action and truth." Boom, boom, boom. Let us not worship with just words and speech, but let us love with action. That's exactly what we've been talking about all morning, right? Brooks and Dunn has a great song. The road to salvation is paved with believers and sinners. Okay? You don't have to sit in a pew. The purpose, and when it says take action, church is wonderful. I have nothing against church. Someone criticized me about that. That's fine. That's their opinion. But you got to take it out of the pew. What did we learn a few weeks ago at Easter? Men of Galilee, why are you looking up? Go and spread the good news. You got to take it out of the pew. There are some people who never sit in pews. They get more of the message than the people sitting in the pews. The big pew out there. That's where it all happens. That's what we're going to be judged on. Out there. The road race, the flowers, the Relay for Life. Okay? The point of church, the point of a faith, if you want to, I don't like to call it a religion, I like to call it a faith. The point of your faith, whether Jew, Muslim, Vibe person, Catholic, Protestant, congregation, doesn't matter. The purpose of these entities is to move you to action and to help your fellow man. This stuff was written 2,000 years ago and it applies to us today. We look down at Matthew chapter 20, verse 26 and 28. Whoever wants to be the greatest among you, he must first be a servant. Whoever wants to be first should be last. Ooh. You know, there's a lot of different kind of faiths out there and things that whatever, and they're all good. But you can color them purple, change the color, put them inside out, turn them upside down, do whatever you want. It's fine. It all comes back to Scripture. It all comes back to Scripture. This is what Matthew is telling us. If you want to be first, you be last. If you want to be the greatest among you, then to serve. And that's what volunteering is. You get such a, I don't want to say the word thrill, but you get such a complete feeling, okay? Like I know the people at WAPJ, a fullness when you put yourself last and put someone else first. The greatest among you has to be a servant. And that's what we're all called to do. We're not called to be rich and famous and popular and all of that. Those are nice things. But our first calling is to serve. is to keep our eyes and our hearts open for people who need the help. Sherry Anderson, she's a 3 times winner of curling, which is competition, senior curling. And it's something like hockey, but it's rocks, and there's a bunch of things on the ice, and you shoot the rocks back and forth, and you get a goal and that kind of thing. She says this: volunteers are not paid because they are worthless. They're not paid because they're priceless. Boom. If they had to hire people Sunday to do what all those people did, and for a month before planning it, it would have cost thousands. So they don't get paid because they don't have any worth, but because people who volunteer are priceless. They're giving their time. They're giving their resources. They're giving their heart. And the heart, as we said, is the biggest thing. We look down at Philippians, okay? And Philippians here tells us, chapter 2, verse 3 and 4, value others above yourself, not looking for your own interest, but rather the interest of others. Boom, ba-bang, ba-boom. Okay, there we are, all the way back to maybe 3,000 years ago. And Philippians is telling us, value others above yourself. Everyone there on Sunday was putting value in others amongst themselves. The 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, says this. He kind of piggybacks Philippians. To ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. Boom. He's saying exactly what Philippians did. And that's what volunteers did. You want to help someone's heartache, you got to put yours aside. We talked about, right, no greater love than when someone put, no greater love is this, than when a man lays down his life for another. And I clarified that. You don't have to be a soldier for that. What those people did on Sunday, what we all did Sunday, what Jock is doing, coming in today, what Jim did Keith, and it goes on and on, all these people, right, George, volunteering, Stan, all of that. They're putting themselves aside for the benefit of something bigger. Not their company, not their business, not their house, but for something that they don't own. But it's much more gratifying because you leave a legacy. Okay, you leave a legacy. A lot of times when you go to these eulogies and you hear people, I'm always impressed with the amount of time that people have given organizations that they get nothing from, and their name isn't on the billboard. No one's name was up there with American Cancer Society signs on Sunday. It didn't say American Cancer Society, T-Boz, Diana Barron. It didn't say that. We weren't looking for that. We're looking to help people. The late Anne Frank, everybody knows the diary of Anne Frank, in a concentration camp, okay, and she wrote her diary actually before she went in there, and her father found it, and he said this should be published. She says, how wonderful that no one needs wait one single minute to improve the world. How wonderful we don't have to wait a single minute, we can improve the world. You can improve the world in a New York heartbeat, okay? Just find something, as Galatians says, St. Paul says in Galatians, as the opportunity presents. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart open. Right? We talked about Ben Grucey earlier, right? He does all this stuff for Words of Wisdom. I shared a story a few weeks ago. I was having trouble with the iPad. He was going in for work later, came all the way up from Prospect, helped me get that thing up and running, and then he went and did his day. There was an opportunity there. I don't know if that young man even knows what Galatians is, but he's living the Word, right? He saw an opportunity. He said, I got to go help my friend. That's help. That's also a little bit of volunteering. He's dedicated to this program. That's what we've been talking about. We look at Galatians again, chapter 6, verse 2. Carry each other's burdens. And this reminds me when I was in bereavement 10 years ago. Carry each other's burdens and supporting each other through challenges. This mutual, remember that word, this mutual support fosters unity. Bing, bang, ba-boom. I didn't know all the people there Sunday, but I felt a unity. The unity that came from Phyllis, who volunteered that bereavement group 10 years ago. She wasn't getting paid for that. She started that group. Some of the best friends I've ever had in my entire life. My best man at the wedding came from that. If Phyllis didn't volunteer her time to put that group together, I don't even want to think what my life would have been like after my wife died. I'll tell you this right now. Without that group, I wouldn't be here. Case closed. That's the benefit of volunteering. And we see Phyllis. Actually, Phyllis came into Christie's a few months ago and saw Jim and Peggy there married, and Diane and I were getting married. You can't put a price on what she saw sitting at that breakfast table. Through her work and her love and her support, carrying each other's burdens, okay? Carrying each other's burdens. She was able to foster new lives for people who were broken and lost. That's what volunteering does. You'll never get a paycheck big enough to what Phyllis got and what these other people got from their volunteering efforts. We look at Donald Gale. He says this: a pessimist sees the glass half empty, an optimist sees the glass half full, but a giver or a servant sees the glass of water and starts looking for someone who's thirsty. Ooh. There's a difference. We know people are pessimists, we know people are optimists. But the server, the giver, sees a glass of water, doesn't think of it for themselves, and starts looking for someone who's thirsty. Do we spend too much time quenching our own thirst? Isn't it time to start looking for people who are thirsty? Because you who are listening, you who are sitting here, have tremendous gifts, have a tremendous spirit and tremendous heart. And there's a world out there waiting for you to make that impact on their life like Phyllis did with mine. We thank her for that. Benjamin Disraeli says this. He was a British writer and a politician. The greatest good you can do for another person is not just share your riches, but to reveal his own. Ooh. So not only to share your riches, which is good, but to, in the other person, reveal his own riches. Reveal what he has to offer in life, to reveal what he's capable of doing, to reveal the gifts that he has that he may not know. So as you volunteer and you mentor someone, you can draw out in them the goodness that God has already placed in them, but sometimes they can't see it because they got so much crap in their head, right? The circumstances in our way, and we let those circumstances block the good light. But the light pierces the darkness, right? Jesus said, and it works with this group, you are the light of the world. Go and spread the good news. So that's what volunteering is. It brings out the riches, showing someone what they have within themselves. Winston Churchill sat with de Gaulle and FDR back, that famous picture on the ship, World War II. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. All right. A lot of you in this room, I know some of you personally, very successful business people, very talented. You've built wonderful businesses that people have bought houses with and educated their children. That's all fine. All right. Make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give. There's got to be a balance as we're going through life. Okay. And even if you're 80, there's still time. There's not a white chalk line around you, so keep going. All right. But what you give, just giving someone an ear sometimes. But organizations need you. Volunteer what you can. If you can only make phone calls, make phone calls. If you can only attend one day, attend one day. If you can raise money like I did for Relay for Life, you do that. You know, there's no greater person because someone puts up the tent, the other guy brings them. It's all the same. It all works as a team, right? You can't play baseball without first base. Chinese proverb, and then we're going on to the takeaway. We have, not only do we have Bible proverbs, we have Chinese proverbs. This is a very balanced show. Chinese proverb: a bit of fragrance always lingers to those who bring roses. Wow. A bit of fragrance always lingers on those who bring roses. So what are we talking about? What all these people are doing? We're talking about by doing good, that there is a benefit for you. There is gratification. There is the fact of knowing that your life is not in vain. Your life has a purpose. Your life has meaning. And that fragrance that lingers is knowing that you did good by helping someone else or helping an organization, right? We go right back to our opening quote, Galatians, when the opportunity is arise, do something, right? St. Peter tells us we should use. He doesn't say try to use your gifts. Do the best. He says you should use your gifts. Abraham Lincoln, right? To ease someone's pain is to forget about your own, okay? And then carry each other's burdens. And what Matthew says, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And then Sherry Anderson, our Swedish person for today, says volunteers are not paid not because they're worthless, but because they're priceless. All of you are priceless. All of you have the opportunity to leave this world in a better place, and volunteering is that little caveat that does that. Here's our takeaway, and it's from a gentleman named Michael Altuseli. I think I'm saying that right. Atuseler. I'm sorry. I can't even read my own writing. Sorry, Jock. Michael Atuseler. And he says this. The bad news is, okay, time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Boom. Bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Time flies, but Jim was the pilot. He didn't wait for the priest to call him to say, do you know, I want flowers, right? Keith, Barbara, I'm just mentioning all of you, okay? Lady Diana, time flies, right? But you're the pilot. Steer yourself in the right direction. Fly yourself in the right direction. Make the time, as the volunteers do. Answer that question that Martin Luther King said about what are we doing for others. You're the pilot. You have the ability and the power to change not only lives, but the world, the organization. The people will remember you like Dr. Klatt for years and years. Look at his legacy. He passed away in 2014. We had hundreds of people Sunday living his legacy and his dream. And all of you here listening on the radio, all of you have that ability. So, George, get going. Have a quick piece of cake. You got a wedding this afternoon. Congratulations, Stan. Thank you. Marianne, great. Everyone, Jock will be over for cake. Be yourself, everyone. You have the gifts and the talent. Don't worry about being Mike. Be yourself, because every other volunteer is taken. Jock, spin the vinyl.